Hello and welcome to our podcast, The Ups and Downs of a Small Business Owner, where we hope to show you exactly what it's like to grow a business. Today I'm here with Matt Bowler, founder and director of Event and Media Structures, Fabox, and Milton Keynes Scaffolding Specialist, along with many other companies. How do you describe yourself, Matt?
That's a good question. Spontaneous is probably a good way to describe me. Energetic. I like to think that I'm positive as well.
If we kind of go back to your start, where does your start begin?
In the business world, probably when I was 12 years old, washing cars. Used to go out on the weekend on my bike and a bucket and a sponge and wash cars. So I was always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I'd actually sign people up. So I didn't just knock on doors and wash cars. I'd go around with a notepad the weekend before and sort of almost contract people into a regular car wash. Yeah, a weekly clean or something. So I'd sign people up so I wasn't randomly knocking on doors. And then I started scaffolding with a family member when I was sort of 15 in school holidays. By the time I was sort of 17, I was trying my hand at running my own company.
What transitioned you to want to start your own company?
I don't know. There's just something that inside me that the people I worked for, I just felt like I could do what they were doing, maybe better. Like I said, from a young age, I'd always liked to do my own thing, earn my own money. I had my own money in my pocket at a young age and bought my own mobile phone when I was at school and stuff like that. So I always like that independence. I'm probably quite unemployable because of that as well. So, I'd had a couple of jobs working for other people, bits and pieces when the scaffolding industry was quiet, and it wasn't for me.
Right. So were you scared to go on your own?
No, not really. I think that's probably another thing I'd describe myself as is pretty fearless when it comes to failing. I'd sort of, in fact, the failures that I'd had even earlier on in life, I don't know, I always seem to rebound pretty well. And inadvertently, they'd always sort of lead me down a more positive path. So I'm still not worried about failing now. You go through stages. Mark Twain said, I am an old man. I've had many troubles, but most of them never happened. And when things are going wrong, or things are getting stressful, I always remind myself of that. Like the worst. Sometimes you work yourself up. The worst possible. I'm going to lose that client because this is going to go wrong, or this is going to happen to me, and it very rarely does.
I think someone said on one of the other episodes, they said, is that going to be a problem in 5 years? Is it going to be a problem in 5 months? Okay. Is that going to be a problem in 5 days? Probably not. So why is it such a problem now?
Yeah.
Get over it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I really do like that. So I guess you started in scaffolding quite early.
Yeah.
Was that what you wanted to do? Was that like
No.
the dream?
No, the dream was I wanted to open my own restaurant, actually. So as a kid, I've done my work experience in a restaurant. I wanted to be a chef. But when you're a kid, obviously, because you haven't experienced too much of the working world, and it looks all glamorous on TV and everything, and then when you get into the reality and you look in the kitchen and you see how stressful that is and everything else. So yeah, originally I wanted to be a chef. I'd done my food, health and hygiene at a young age and done work experience in cooking, and then obviously needed a job straight away, and I got good money scaffolding. I was physically fit, and I ended up just getting stuck in the scaffolding industry. definitely still don't want to be a chef anymore, and I very rarely cook. So it's just funny how sort of things change as life progresses. I like eating, so I like to be on the other side of the kitchen door. Yeah, I'll do the tasting, but I mean, I've still got a desire to sort of run my own establishment. Um, whether that's something I collect sports memorabilia, and I've always had this sort of side dream of opening a sports bar. So and doing that sort of thing. Yeah, that's a sort of a side project, maybe a semi-retirement thing. Sports bar, call it bowlers. Yeah, it works.
I would say we haven't got many now. King, but had
No.
some Ring Kings the other day, and that's
Yeah, to be honest with you, I follow Wing Kings on LinkedIn, the directors there, and they've done it's a really nice brand, really good job. I'd say the only thing about Wing Kings that I don't like is we can't get no phone reception. um, and it's obviously American sports in there on the TVs and that. But yeah, we used to have a couple of sports bars. There was City Limits. I don't know if you remember City Limits. And then there was Frames, the snooker bar near the old YMCA, Central Milton Keynes. But yeah, no, that was like way back when. So yeah, I definitely think there's a market for it. But I kind of imagine like a sports bar, and I ride a motorbike as well, a place that the clubs can meet up as well. You could go on a ride out from there, and associations and clubs can meet us. Real estate's few and far between for that sort of thing now. Exactly. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I'll make some money in scaffolding and then blow it all doing something like that.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So kind of in your transitions in the early stages, how important are the people around you?
Yeah, massively important. Obviously, that comes more and more apparent as time goes on. It's a double-edged sword because people in business, especially my line of business, we're just so reliant on particularly the guys on site delivering. They could be your best asset or your worst nightmare as well. So, they're very vitally important, the right kind of person. But obviously we're a people facing business. Obviously later on we come into the event industry. When I say later on, we've been doing sort of 20 years now, but we've primarily started in construction. It's a different type of client. But now, we're in Buckingham Palace, back gardens and golf courses with members walking around, and we've got a lot of public interaction. Like having the right kind of scaffolder is really key. Later on, you realize about letting go. I've up until quite recently, up until the last few years, sort of retained a lot of the responsibilities in the company. And when I've took someone on to do a certain role, I've still been chipping in to 40%, 50% of that role. Over the last few years, I've learned to let go, let people make some mistakes, because that's the way I learn. I've made every mistake under the sun, and I've had to learn to let people make them mistakes, and they've really grown through it and have become much better at on all the jobs that I thought I was the best at. It's key. It's getting easier. I've had to learn to look at the bigger picture, like you were saying earlier, like the long term, the bigger picture, like because you could jump on someone for making a single mistake, but that person might have been, taking their work home with them, panicking, having sleepless nights, and then you've jumped on them about really a trivial mistake, which I've done before in the past. I've been quite quick to react because it's your baby. You get you get an email from a customer who's not happy because someone hasn't got back to them, or which, like you said, it probably matters that day, but in 10 years' time, 5 years' time, really, days' time, is it really going to be matter? And pretty much anything can be sort of fixed. So I've learned from my mistakes, and one of them is jumping on other people about their mistakes. So yeah, as time goes on, and I've sort of obviously I've chilled out as well, become a dad. You sort of realize you start to look at the big picture really, and sort of forgive and help people move on. And actually, my biggest asset is the amount of mistakes I've made and moved on from. My company's just got better and better every time.
So just on that then, what would you say has been your biggest mistake?
Not sticking to what I know. I'm quite, like I said, I'm spontaneous. All right. So I have to rein myself in if I get an idea. I've made a few mistakes. I've opened a fancy dress shop before, completely off tracks from what I'm used to. I've put on a big event because I thought I was doing so well in the event structures industry. I felt like everything I touched turned to gold, so I thought I can't fail. And I put on an event, and it broke my company. That was a Winterland event. I felt because we build Hyde Park, Winter Wonderland, Birmingham. We've done all the biggest winter structures for Winterlands up and down the country. I thought, well, I could do it myself. Certain stuff's outside your control, like the weather, and I know a lot of these events have, suffer because of that, but they're backed by big organisations with deep pockets, a lot of them, so they can sort of weather the storm. Yeah, so venturing into areas that I should really have done some more research in, and like I said, maybe try and stick to what I know, and doing a bit more research around any new ventures.
So if we flip that on its head then, what would you say has been the biggest success?
Them failures. We took on a lot of work at the Olympic Games, because it was the Olympic Games, and I was what are we now? I'm 43 years old. This was 2012, so that's 13 years. I was 30 years old, 29, 30 years old, fairly young, and it was the Olympic Games. So I'm like, wow, this is big time. We've won the contract for the Olympic Games. And so I was really pleasing everybody, saying yes to everything. And I was putting the customer first, which you should, but not. You've got to also put your own company first, because without your own company, you can't serve the customer. I didn't, go through the contractual process properly. Everything was informal, believe it or not, being the Olympics. It started off as a £75,000 job. It ended up going excess of £1 million. Hardly got any of that money back because nothing was signed off properly. But that was a big mistake. But that was actually my biggest learning curve as well. So we tightened our processes up a lot. And I think going into the event industry itself, we still do the construction side of things, but in the recession 2007, I was speaking to an old builder and just listening to my peers, and I'd never experienced a recession in my working life before, and it was like, oh yeah, recession, there's not going to be any work, construction's going to die and everything. We'd done a couple of event jobs, so we diversified. Back then, it was quite easy to get onto number one on Google. We could do it in days. My brother builds websites, so I was like, right, let's shout about these few little events that we've done. We've done some local stages and stuff, like a lot of small scaffold companies do. They'll do little local events and stuff. So we shouted about them, and within a few weeks, we managed to get to number one for event scaffolding on Google. So a bit of it was luck, but that changed our destiny. We ended up being searched by a company that we still work with today, and we go all around the world with this company. We do the PGA Tour, Live Golf, Royal Weddings, Commonwealth Games, and it sort of led us down the path of the event industry. So I'd say that was a mixture of luck and obviously maybe a bit of sort of flexibility and, just forward thinking about, okay, right, how can we diversify? And we ended up going down the events road.
So you used to wear their luck. Do you believe in luck?
Yeah, I think, yeah, but I think you do make your own luck because you've got to put yourself in the place. Yeah. So if you sort of, if you don't leave yourself open to opportunity, luck's not ever going to come your way. Sometimes you are in the right place at the right time, but if you're not in that place in the first time, there's never going to be a right time. I do believe in luck, but I also think you have to be open to attract your own luck in that sense. Pre that decision to go into events, one of the little local events that we'd done was for an artist called Graham Hudson in Milton Keynes Gallery. And we were a sort of a small company in Milton Keynes. This is just pre the recession. He reached out to a lot of scaffold companies, and I was young. I was in my mid-20s at that stage. Again, quite spontaneous, quite very open to new things and challenges and stuff. And he called us. He said, "Look, I've called every scaffold company in Milton Keynes, and they all think I'm crazy. They've all put the phone down on me, basically. I've only got £1,500 to build this in the gallery." And it was, nowadays, if it was a £30,000-40,000 job, but got £1,500. I want to do this art installation out of scaffolding. And then I was just like, yeah, okay. And so we could afford to do it. I put my own tools on and went and put the job up with the help of a couple of lads on the firm. That guy, then his next job had big budget. We went to Switzerland to Art Basel. We built another structure for Art Basel. We got a proper budget. We then went to Burberry in London in their flagship store. We built a big sculpture in Burberry. And we're still working with him now. We've worked for Fendi, Burberry, Milan. We've gone all around the world with him. His portfolio was part of the portfolio that I put on our website when we said we do events. So that's led us into now running a multi-million-pound event structures company. Yeah, a little bit of luck, but you need to be open.
You could be able to afford to do it, and you could be able to do it. But if you can help people, it will come back.
Yeah, I believe that too. Yeah,
I see it so much. Like, you spend a little bit of time with someone, and they really appreciate it. It goes a long way, and then eventually, you've been all over the world. Did you get to go out with him, or is it a scene to go?
No, I get on really well with Graham. I've got some of his artworks off in my house, actually. We're sort of his go-to guys now, but I'd still, I'd still be there. We done one recent for Comme des Garçons in London, and I was there overseeing it because with Graham, it was he's very creative, obviously being an artist, but we'd had that relationship from day one, and I kind of enjoy the creative process. So I'm usually on the scene on most of his projects, and there's been an artist as well. There's no real structure. There's no real program or specification. A lot of it's freestyle. And you'll find me getting a spanner out or even a paintbrush out, depending on what crazy ideas he comes up with. So I like getting hands on with Graham. We've got that thing. I'm an extension. I'm like his paintbrush. He's like the brains, and I'm an extension to his creativity.
I'd say we work with a few creatives and stuff. They can be quite difficult because they know what they want, and it's getting that visualized or getting you to understand what it is that they're trying to tell you and stuff like that, which I find quite interesting.
It is, and this is because this is why I'm also on Graham's projects, because it can be quite frustrating if you don't know Graham or you don't know an artist, you don't know how they work, especially if you're a scaffolder who's used to picking up a design, having the kit for that design. Graham's usually starts with a concept, a mood board. None of the concepts look like one another, so you don't really. So in an industry where everything's almost pre-engineered and pre-planned and quite rigid, to do that, you need to be a certain character. So this is another reason why I like to sort of help Graham manage the project, almost be his creative filter to the gang, and remind them trust the process, because you think, where the hell are we going with this? It looks a mess, and then at the end of it, you look back and you're like, oh wow, you know. So yeah, so it can be frustrating, but it suits me as a character. I wasn't born to be rigid scaffolder, put in things I don't think but I've kind of compromised. So I'm still scaffolding, but luckily I still get to be creative as well.
Do you still go to them events?
Yeah, some of the events I don't want to be anywhere near the place by the end of the project. But yeah, I was up at the Live Golf JCB recently after a few months building that. But sometimes, because it's quite a relentless summer back-to-back events, I don't really get the time. I've been to the Silverstone Grand Prix and enjoyed the races from our hospitality structure that we built. But yeah, not as much as you'd think, because we're on to the next one immediately after. So
Working in events, I'm guessing it's mostly sort of weekends, evenings, late nights and stuff like that. Like, how do you kind of juggle that with?
a lot better now. I ditched my second mobile phone a few years ago. I used to have a phone in each ear, literally. I said, I've got a personal phone and a work phone to stop it, but it didn't end. My personal number ended up seeping through to my clients because they couldn't get me on the other one. So I ended up double trouble, basically. Much more now. Much more now. Obviously, I've had a child, and as he's getting sort of older and doing more like, rugby, and the pandemic really helped because obviously everyone had a lovely summer holiday. It was normal for people to be working from home and doing teams and have kids running around in the background. Whereas before it was probably a bit unprofessional, perceived to be unprofessional, hearing screaming kids in the background, or going, oh, I've got to go now, I've got to pick my kid up from school. I don't know. You were always conscious of it. But now all my clients, no matter how big they are, they know. They're like, oh, it's Monday afternoon and you're picking Fred up. Everyone knows him by his name. And I'm not afraid to say, sorry, I can't do that Teams call. I'm on the school run. And I think the pandemic did help because there was a bit of a stigma of when you're at work, you've got to be professional between 9 to 5. But everyone's sort of having that time where there was, Teams calls with kids and life going on around. That sort of helped now. So I don't apologize now for being on the school run, for being with my kid when I'm taking a call. And that sort of helped.
And almost as a bloke as well.
Yeah.
As a man, and there's a very difficult, strange thing. Like when you're a man, if you're picking up your kids from school, oh my God, look at him, he's great. What a dad. But then on the flip side, if it's a mum picking up the kids, that's expected.
Standard, yeah.
And then there's also this, if you speak to a woman and she's picking up the kids, it's like, oh yeah, she's just on the school run, it's just normal. Again, as a bloke, when I say I'm picking up my daughter from nursery, people are, oh, that's really cool.
Like it's something.
Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's no different. It's just that's how it's perceived.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. If you mentioned things like a lot of things you've tried, Wonderland and stuff like that. How quickly did you realize it wasn't working?
Not quick enough. Wonderland, this could go over like 7 or 8 different podcasts, honestly. But there was a Winterland that happened in Milton Keynes, an event at Campbell Park in Milton Keynes years ago, and it made the papers. It was a bit like that Oompa Loompa thing that happened, Charlie Chocolate Factory, that was all over the press. So that happened in Milton Keynes. That made me think that everyone sort of laughed at whoever, you know, put that on, shunned them like they do on social media. I was probably one of them people as well. And then you learn that actually no one sets out to run a bad event. If someone wants to take someone's money and fraud them, there's easier ways to do it, right? So even this Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, when I read that after doing my own event in Winterland and ultimately failing, well, I would say I failed. A lot of people who went to the event and enjoyed the event wouldn't. So it wasn't a Willy Wonka thing. It was a financial thing. So that event happened in Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes has never had a real ice rink. Milton Keynes has never had really something proper, apart from the display at the shopping centre. It's never really had a proper event. And we're around the world. I've won Entrepreneur of the Year that year. We'd won creativity awards. We were known in the sort of business circles in Milton Keynes. So when I announced that I was looking at planning on doing a Winterland, I had quite a lot of backing from the business community. I managed to secure the bowl as a venue, massive venue, very popular and easy to get to. Secured the bowl. Secured Vodafone as a sponsor, City Fibre, some Fiat, a few sponsors. They didn't give me a great deal of money. It looked like it did, which probably set the bar higher for people for the haters, who was, oh, you're backed by Vodafone. Oh, you're backed by this. Oh, you must have buckets of money, this, that, and the other. The venue, the biggest thing that happened was the venue changed last minute, like 8 weeks out from the event. The bowl done a deal, I think, with the MK Dons and basically pulled the rug from under our feet. Didn't honour the lease. I'd sat through safety advisory groups with the councils, had all the green light, had an alcohol licence, everything I needed, everything was in place. All the vendors knew it was going to be at MK Bowl, the fairground, the vendors. So when they pulled the rug, I had to call up all the vendors and say, we're looking for a new venue. Half of them dropped out because it was 8 weeks out from the event. And I managed to retain some and then get some new ones on and secure Toaster Racecourse. Now, it's a lovely venue, but you can't get to it like you can the Bowl. It's out. It's not Milton Keynes now. We're in Northamptonshire Council. So I've had to start all again with the safety advisory groups in Northampton, 8 weeks now from the event. Start from scratch with the safety advisory group in Northampton, working for a new landlord, doing mapping the event out, convincing people that it was still going to go ahead. And I had to set up a park and ride from Milton Keynes for the bus. It's just money, just throwing money at it. At that point, I probably should have said, venue's been pulled. Let's do it another year. Let's go again a different year. Like I said, I've got no regrets whatsoever, and I wouldn't change it, because if I did pull the plug, life would have took a different course. And I'd already it was like a fruit machine. I'd been just putting the money in. It was in the papers. People were expecting it. I'd sold tickets, Santa's Grotto, ice skating. I'd got some big names on. So I carried on and we went to Toaster Racecourse. It was in the middle of nowhere. The opening night was phenomenal. It was sellout. E17 were headlining. I was up on one of the balconies from the racecourse building, looking out, and I just thought, oh my God, we've done it. I'm going to see E17 singing Stay Now, Baby, have you got to go away? And the laser show. And it was really, really good the first night. And the next day, everyone was high-fiving me. Oh my God, all the vendors. But I'd done a 42-day event. So I was trying to compete and run it as long as Hyde Park. So we're in November. Start. There's a long way to go. Next day, all the vendors, sign me up for next year. Half of them hadn't paid my bill yet. So I'm like, they're like, I'll pay you later on, I'll pay you and pay you. So I had like a shortfall in what budget we had to carry on with the event. The following day after that, no one turned up because no one could get there. Everyone had come to the opening night, so no one had to see it again. It was the weather was horrific, everything was blowing all over the place, and the mood changed pretty quickly. Them vendors never paid me, so I was battling. They were complaining, saying, "Oh, no one's here. I can't pay you. I've got no revenue to pay you." At the same time, I was running out of money to put on entertainment to attract people there, to market it properly, and this, that, and the other. So it went like that for 42 days thereafter. The people who did come to the event, the ones that didn't have an agenda, loved it. We threw everything at it. Real Ice Rink, Santa's Grotto, an organisation that run grottos all up and down the country, great grottos. The fairground, everything you'd expect. But throughout the event, because of disgruntled vendors, because of the weather and where it was, the destination, all these sort of things that sort of was out of my control, they started sort of shutting the shutters. So the event started getting sparse throughout the time. By the time we got to Christmas, I was just hanging on. Getting a lot of hate from the vendors, getting public backlash. But I bid to stay open till the very last day because people wanted their money, like the vendors wanted their money back. They wanted to rescind. They thought if I shut down the event early, everyone would get paid. But I just wanted to honour everyone's tickets who had bought a ticket to see Santa or this. So I wanted to honour it, and we managed to last till the last day, shut it down, and then what come after was press. I was in the headlines. Is it a shameless sham or a wonderful festival? And the JVS show was trying to phone my office because some of the vendors had gone on. Is it JVS where he the consumer program, a bit like Watchdog on the radio? People were sort of going on his shows saying that I'd done this and things. So it's a horrific time. And straight after, the sort of after that Christmas, sort of dismantled it, and then COVID hit, and it was almost like just a bit of a rest.
Mentally, how do you cope with the press coming after you, like these shows coming after you? Like, what frustratingly would have been a great success if it was one night turned into almost a nightmare. And how does that affect you? Like, you're at home just trying to carry on, trying to work things out. You spent a fortune.
Yeah, it was a tricky time. I was going through a divorce at the time. Before Wonderland, I was in the papers for positive reasons. The won awards. There was a lot of hype around the event. Behind the scenes, I was going broke. I had no money to pay for my solicitors for a divorce, barely pay the bills. Obviously, I'm not going to tell anyone this. I wouldn't even open out to people who work with me and work for me. I didn't want to. Everyone looked at me and thought, he'll deliver all the time. So I couldn't. I felt like I had zero people to confide in right then. Apart from my son, who was probably 10 months old. I'd be like, son, what have I done? Yeah, exactly. It helped. But yeah, no, it was a real dark place. I'd always been a bit macho about mental health up until then. Shamingly so, I was a bit judgy about what I'd probably refer to as snowflakes, because I'm from, a different kind of life where, you pull your socks off and get on with it. And I kept this completely, to myself. I wouldn't call anyone, oh, I'm depressed or I'm this, that, and the other. But my brain throughout that whole thing, I mean, I didn't wash. I went home, slept in my high-vis jacket woke up, I was drinking a lot. I was going to court through my divorce. Couldn't afford my solicitor, so I had no representation, getting beaten up by the judge. They're telling me, you've won Entrepreneur of the Year, you know, you've got this, you must have millions, hiding millions. Like, I'm like, no, I'm going bankrupt. I'm going bankrupt. No one believed me, which is my own doing, because I always put on this front, right? Business is good, everything's good, don't worry about it. And I'd say it was the darkest time of my life, because it was prolonged as well. It was like death with 1,000 needles kind of thing. It was every day, people in my face, and I just wanted to do the right thing. I was made the ambassador of the YMCA that year, and they were there. They were my charity, and I was just trying to do a positive thing. It wasn't about money for me. It was about doing an event, making Milton. I love Milton Keynes, and it was about making Milton Keynes, putting an event on in Milton Keynes that was going to draw in the crowds from every Milton Keynes and beyond. Do it for the community, make the city proud, and so my intentions was just misread, and it was just I'd never had that much. It was all over social media. People getting personal about me, saying, making stuff up about me on social media. I haven't had personal social media since, apart from business stuff on LinkedIn. People, spreading stuff about me, trying to sabotage the event. So it was dark. I'd go home and drink a bottle of whiskey, and then roll around on the floor going, well, what have you done? Like, to myself, but I wouldn't do that in front of anyone else. Like, it is bloody hard, but it was the baptism of fire. And I've come out of that a completely different man. Like I said, the pandemic was sort of a bit of respite, because the world was concentrating on other things, stopped concentrating on me. I felt like the world was concentrating on me, but it was obviously not. Everyone was sort of trying to, everyone thought the world was going to end, didn't they? At one stage, it was like, you didn't know. It's like this killer thing, the whole world. It was, wasn't it? And it's like, so luckily it was a distraction for everyone. So that sort of all come about that March. So we took the job down. I was taking pressure. Obviously now I've got suppliers to pay. I'm trying to do deals with people, then got my divorce going on in the background. And I knew that we would trade through it. And, I had enough repeat business, like I still do now, that we could pay off all our suppliers, albeit late and everything, but we would be good. And then the pandemic hit, and then all events got cancelled. So that revenue obviously stopped coming in. And then before long, hope of actually being able to recover financially was sort of gone. And thereafter, ended up going bankrupt, divorced, started from scratch. And it was like I said, it was like the baptism of fire. The bounce back, the bounce back was sweeter than anything. Me as a person now, all these things where I said I've learned over the last few years, it's all off the back of that, really. For me to learn a lesson, it takes a few kick-ins. Yeah, a few. I don't always learn on my first mistake. So I had to make a real big one. And that was a real big one. Like literally the biggest fall from grace. But I kept my head below the parapet. I was humbled and got through my bankruptcy, come out the other end, managed to retain all my connections, and managed to, with some assistance now, again, people are really vital to me, and I've realised how vital now. With some assistance, managed to build the company back to, bigger and better than whatever it ever was before.
And we've learned from it all. So
Yeah.
what's the best thing that you've learned? let's say you now are telling you, telling them 20 years ago, what's that one thing you'd say?
Nothing's ever going to be as bad as Wonderland. No, I always go, like, if something goes bad now, I do remember Wonderland. I think if I got through that, like, so yeah, you're resilient. You can get through anything. And I kind of knew it before subconsciously, but I just thought your biggest mistakes can be your biggest triumphs eventually. And my falls from grace has been like a fall to grace, you know. So, but also family as well. Having that when you sat on your deathbed, the people around you is not going to be your customers, are they? Not going to be your suppliers. They're going to be your son, your wife, you know, your family, and that's really all that's ever going to matter, really, at the end. So, a big key thing is to so business and work isn't the be all and end all. That shouldn't be like the ultimate goal. I don't think. I think it's more than that.
And I think, for example, like that Winter Wonderland of Love, when you do something like that and it goes really bad, you soon quickly learn who are actually your friends and who are actually there for you and who are there for them.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I built up that year a lot of. I was in the movers and shakers in Milton Keynes, you know, the business community, and they wanted a bit. They wanted either as a charity, either as a sponsor. They wanted a bit of their you want to be involved in this. God, them people disappeared pretty quickly when things started going Pete's on. So, you know, there's that business side, and yeah, you're right. Friends as well. They scatter. They're all there with you on the VIP night, on the opening night. But none of them are coming to put your arm around your shoulder when they can see things are going horribly wrong. But I mean, I've got friends. Your friends circles change. And one of my best friends is now my next door neighbour, retired ex-copper. I've only known him for about 3 years. Puts my bins out every Tuesday because I'm too lazy to do it myself. And we are the most unlikely friends ever. But I just think as you mature and you grow older, you hang on to friends that you think's friends just because you've grown up with them. This guy benefits my life. I never ask for anything, but he gives me everything. You know, he's the best neighbour that you could ever ask for. My partner, my fiance now as well. It's a completely different relationship than I've ever had before. And she's my biggest fan. She doesn't put pressure on me. So I think, you know, I could definitely count my friends on one hand. Yeah, now. And it's a completely different type of friend. But yeah, you're right. You do. But it is, when people want a job with you, like I've had friends, oh, can you give my son a job? Yeah. Or can you give me a job? Yeah, yeah. As soon as that goes awry, as soon as that goes wrong, obviously you are now the worst thing ever. It's hard to win you know, when you're running your own business and you don't want to say no to someone. So not many people, you know, I'm not the sort of person, I give everyone a chance, even though I think it's a bloody bad idea. And I might say, well, are you sure? You know, I've given my ex-father-in-law a job. And I said to him, I don't feel right. My dad working for me, my father-in-law working for me. That's a bit of a conflict there. Oh, no, it'll be fine. I'll do it as a time. And that didn't go well, you know. And so, and then you're all of a sudden, you know, you're the worst, you know, worst person, and this, that, and the other. So sometimes you just can't, you just can't win. You just can't help people.
It's a very lonely, tough place to be in business. To try and have that separate, you know, personal life as well is difficult, especially when you've got your father-in-law, your ex's father-in-law, like there, because that's personal as well as business, and then there's all sorts that come out the back of that, and because we all do it, you know, you go home, you moan about work, we all have to learn about work, but then when it's somebody personal, it's then almost becoming a personal issue as well as a business issue. Work is stressful. Work isn't fun. Not always fun. Work isn't, the reality is, why do we work? To get paid. Would we still all work if there was no money coming in? Probably not. Or there'd be a lot less people working. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Talking about money then, unfortunately, how important has it been knowing your numbers throughout your journey?
Yeah, no. So we had a board meeting yesterday, and I was talking about this, how having a grasp on numbers over the last few years and driving all my business decisions has been one of the key turning points for us. I've sometimes got, like, financial directors in, FDs in on a sort of consultancy basis, and left it to them and my bookkeepers and plead ignorance, like, because I need to separate, if I'm dealing with sales or dealing with operations. I felt like the finances is a burden that I could just do without. So I wrongly shied away from it. Asked him, are we profitable? Yeah, we're profitable. Can we afford, have we got this? And as long as he gave me them answers, I didn't want to know anything else. And it was wrong, because no one knows my business like I know my business. So I didn't have enough. Him just answering a few questions wasn't enough detail for me to make decisions that I know I should be making. And then a few years ago, I created a cash flow forecast model for a year, 12 months. So it's always 12 months ahead. So we know where we're going to be in 12 months. When I got a financial director in, and these consultants is, supposed to be, the bee's knees, and, 10 times better than me at understanding finances. But they didn't understand my business. So it was easy for them to look at things in black and white, but they didn't know how about this customer that takes me 6 months to pay, but I've worked with them for 20 years. And they're backed by big Saudi oil companies and this, that, and the other. So he's expecting this money in the day we invoice it. And I know that's not going to happen. And just lots of little things like this. And we done a forecast, and I said, how could we need some money for an investment? We'll invest in something. And he went, yeah, no worries. Yeah, you can afford that. And I said, really? Let's just extend the forecast. And we're in September now, so it's like this time of year. And he was looking at a 3-month forecast till the end of December. I said, let's extend that to March. Extended it to March when we were deep in the red. And I was like, I just basically phoned the company, said, look, I'm going to take over finances myself. I extended a 12-month forecast, done what I needed to do to get back in the black, and learned that, I, on a daily basis, I check that forecast, check our budgets, and I make all my decisions financially, not just financially, operationally, and everything evolves around that cash flow forecast now. And you cannot plead ignorance to it. You've really got to understand the financial side of it. And it doesn't have to be boring either. It can be fun. We have a little challenge about extending that black. So it's not, we're going to be red in things. So we go, right, okay, so we get the team together, right, what we can do to increase margins, and it's increase revenue. And so we just push that red down the line, as far as possible. So it's almost like a challenge for us. And it helps me be able to tell people, this is what we need to target for this. How do you know? If you haven't got a grasp on the numbers, how do you tell your team, we need to make, 30-40% profit on this job? Oh, this is how much we need to cut costs by, or we've got this money to spend on the other side of it. And don't know how I was doing it before. Well, I wasn't doing it. Just relying on everyone else. And I think all business owners should really have that level of grasp. They don't need to be, financial gurus like yourself, but just to have that understanding of, at what you're looking at and, what you need to target for. Because we organically grew every year. And I didn't realize until this point, until I'd actually got rid of an FD that's supposed to tell me what I thought he was going to tell me. This is where you need to be. I was like, oh, okay. That's what my overheads are. I need to make £1 million profit just to break even. Okay. Now I know what I've got to do. I've got to get some more work in. I've got to increase the revenue to this much based on these average gross profits we're making just to get this much. And then it just clicked. And again, that was a recent thing because, I'd always left it to someone else.
So, that happens a lot. And I think a lot of business owners shy away from the numbers. Why do you think that you did?
Because it's just stressful, isn't it? Just seeing how much you got to pay out and seeing how, now it's not stressful. I actually enjoy it, but it was, just to put, I think a little bit of more like passing responsibility onto someone else. It's like, oh, if we can't afford to pay the wages, it's your fault. Like it's just one less responsibility that I wanted to divulge from, you know what I mean? Like I suppose it was one less responsibility that I thought, one less stress, because I've got enough stress to worry about. But it was actually causing me more stress, burying my head in the sand. Unless no one else is going to take control, like I'm going to take control. No one else is going to really look at the figures, right? Like my brilliant finance girl now who does our bookkeeping, she looks at the numbers, but no one's going to look at the numbers, the whole picture, where you want to be, everything that comes into it, the decisions that are ticking around in your head, the negotiations that I'm going to have with the client later on for a contract renewal. All of that, there's only one person really, and that's the guy who's running the firm, who's got all of that information, naively thinking that I was de-burdening myself from financial stresses. I was just causing myself more stress.
So it doesn't actually relieve stress by you.
Yeah.
Do you think it's understanding as well? Like now you understand what you're looking at, you're understanding the numbers and stuff.
Yeah, of course. There's fundamentals in business. There's obviously cash is king. Again, my FD's telling me we're in profit. Yeah, okay, we're in profit, but does that mean you got cash in the bank? No. And companies go to the wall because they run out of cash. Some companies can go to the wall and they're profitable, but they still run out of cash because they can't pay the bills. So just having someone answering 2 or 3 questions to you, you're making profit and this, that, and the other isn't good enough. You've really got to understand cash flow. For me is the biggest thing. Working capital. Are we making profit? Yeah, great. But have we got cash, and can we sustain? And what are our overheads? What's our minimum obligations every month? And getting a good grip of that is just really fundamental. And it drives everything now.
I think that's probably the biggest thing is the amount of people that say that are profitable. Yes. Well, why have I got no cash? Because I don't know, you're owed £500,000 by that customer who hasn't paid you for 6 months.
Or you spend it on asset.
Yeah. Or you've paid your suppliers up front or whatever it is. Like, and that's it. It's understanding the difference between the cash and the profit. I think it's a key.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would you say has been your biggest mentor?
Throughout life, I've had different mentors, I suppose. Teachers, early days. Couple of teachers I was quite fond of. Sean, my graphic design teacher. Dave, my head of hall, headmaster. And they were quite fond of me. They mentored me in terms of character, and embracing who I was as a person. And I wasn't every teacher's cup of tea, but these saw something different in me. So my mentors have changed. My neighbor Mark, who I mentioned earlier, he's a good mentor. My partner, Aaliyah, She's separate. Is she?
There's not many people.
How's it spelled? Oh, almost. It's Aliye. It's actually pronounced Aliyah, but that's a separate pronunciation of it. Yeah. So Aliyah, my son, both my sons, my stepson and Fred, have not mentor, but inspired me. Rugby coaches throughout life growing up, again, who have sort of, just been just good role models and everything else. But I wouldn't say it's one person that, that's mentored me. Throughout my business life, I've made most of the decisions myself. People have come and gone that's actually probably hindered me more than mentored me. And I've got some good people around me. Sachin, he's one of the directors now. He's just a very trustworthy guy. He's put a lot of faith in me. And he sort of guides me, but with gives me reins. Never. He's got a very good way about him. He'll give me suggestions, but he'll never give me like hard advice. Like, I think you should do this. And he'll suggest something, but then compliment me. And he's just got a way about him. And Phil as well, he's one of the other directors. He runs a very successful security company. And we're all completely different people, but they all inspire me in different ways. They're very cool, calculated, not spontaneous. We're opposites. But yeah, so mentors is kind of a thingy word, but I'd say that these people have all inspired me.
So, kind of moving on then, what impacts is AI having on you?
Yeah, I mean, I got on ChatGPT like early days. Think we're embracing it. We were one of the first scaffolding companies that started implementing AI. I use it on a daily basis. We were exploring how AI can further enhance our modeling, our design. We use it in creative proposals to get something hashed out quickly without spend, so we can offer our customers a concept. So if we've got a creative project coming up, we offer them a concept that we can bang out in minutes rather than weeks. Obviously, we use it for writing, to tone down a nasty email that you might want to send or something. But I think we started to use it for that thing less so, because people know when something's written by AI. So back in the day, before no one knew about it, really, you'd think I was Shakespeare with my emails that I was writing. I quite like writing anyway, but I use it less now from that, because it's like, you can always tell when something's been written by ChatGPT. But my business, and especially the event side of things and the creative stuff that we do, we build like, really creative structures, brand activations and VIP areas. It's great just to get something from my brain, put a prompt in, get an image and some designs together, and then we take that and into our rendering software after and rebuild it as a proper model. So obviously it's gained so much traction. I've invested in Nvidia for, so I've got an invested interest in the AI industry. But right now we're using it creativity, and it's saving us time. And I'm really keen to see what else is out there that's going to complement what we do.
So if it was like one bit of AI that you would say is the best or works extremely well, what would you say you've noticed?
Yeah, I mean, creating memes. It's funny. My kids probably know how to know more about AI, as in the app side of it and what they can do with an image or a photo than what I do. So I'm quite restricted to ChatGPT. So I'll create text and I'll create images and maybe videos. Whereas the kids, I mean, every single app on there has got AI integrated. So they'll be teaching me what's new in AI. But yeah, just ChatGPT is the one for us. It's even like, um, uh, yesterday I fed a spreadsheet into it. Of all our net profits, just quickly worked out the average net profit throughout the year and stuff like that. Just quick stuff that might take you 20 minutes to do. You can do that in 10, 20 seconds. So it's just really bolstering, saving a lot of time. Like I said earlier, I automate before you delegate is something I've learned. If you can do something, automate something, and save human time to do human things, and that's a good thing.
I've started trying to build like personas. So like that we use Gemini, but something, and I've built like a CFO. So like, you're a CFO, you've all this knowledge, you do this, you do that, and then you can feed in a report and say, give me a report, give me my executive summary. Here's my numbers. What do you think I should be looking at? And it spits that out. And then you do the same, and you kind of go, right, you're a head of marketing. Give me, where should we go? What do we start with? How do we do it? Build a full plan. And then it splits that out. So like, I'm trying to build these personas to say, you're a head of marketing at this kind of company, doing this kind of work with this kind of knowledge at this kind of level. And then you leave that sat there, and that's essentially that person that you've just made. And then you can ask it questions. And that's what I find fascinating.
That's deep. That's really deep. I mean, you could go right into that, can't you? You could actually give them a historic life, couldn't you? Like, you've made these mistakes. You've done this. You've worked for these companies. You could give it a character as well, couldn't you? Free. That's crazy.
So at the end of the show, or at the end of the episode, we do Diary of a CEO cards. I don't know if you've seen Diary of a CEO.
Yeah.
But essentially, these are all the questions that get asked on that. And we basically ask each other one each.
Cool.
So if you take one, do you want to go first or second?
It's hard to read the handwriting. Yeah, I think I know what this says. It's the squiggly handwriting. It's a bit hard to read, but go on, you go first.
So I'm asking you then, I don't know if we've already done this, but what is one thing that you would do if you weren't afraid at all?
So that's a hard one because thinking about, there's not really much I'm afraid of, I suppose. Write a book, but the thing that holds me back, I suppose, is my experience being in putting my head above the parapet and having the bad, the haters, the press, and all this sort of stuff, being in the limelight and stuff like that. But it'd be good to write a book, almost like a business, maybe a sort of self-help book on people who maybe have been in a dark place or in business and in life, but a book that maybe inspires people. But yeah, I also, on the other hand, I've been putting my head above the parapet there, so I'd be very reluctant to do anything like that.
I mean, that's pretty incredible. I think you should. I mean, I think we could have talked about so many different things on this, and I think you've got such an incredible story.
Yeah, thanks. I might write one just for you. ChatGPT.
Write one into ChatGPT.
Yeah, and write a book about my life. Okay, I got a good one for you. How many times have you properly been in love?
So, this is a difficult one, and I hope my wife's not listening, but I've said that you don't actually truly feel love until you have a kid. And that love for a kid is a very different thing. Like, you know, you say you love people, you say you love your partner and stuff, but when that kid is there, you would do almost anything for them. Like, and so I would say, I'm going to say twice, my wife and my kid, but the reality is I would probably go with once, and that's when she was, well, her. And actually, I'm having another kid in November, so fingers crossed.
Congratulations.
Twice when we get to November, but that you do anything for them, like you would. There is no place that I wouldn't put myself in the way of anything to protect them. So I think, yeah, I'd go with just the once for now, twice in a month. So when this comes out, it'll be hopefully two.
It's a different kind of love, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think you can explain it or you can
No, you
understand
can't.
it until you've had it.
Because you think before you have a kid that you are madly in love, and then you're like, and like you said, you realise what love is, and also you realise what, for me, the meaning of life is when you have a kid. Oh yeah, it's to have a kid, it's to give life, you know. And my life is that now, and that's the meaning. When I'm gone, he's going to be there, and then he's going to have kids. So that's the meaning of life for me.
Biologically,
Yeah,
you know, the meaning of life
reproducing,
to reproduce and to carry on the human race.
Yeah,
that is literally what we are here to do.
Yeah.
Yes, we make money, we do all these other things, but in 100 years' time, no one's going to know. Potentially not. 200 years' time, no one's going to know who Matt was, and that's it. Like, so you're here for that. You're here for your journey. You're here for your periods. Enjoy it. Do what it is.
What's your top 4 things that you love in life? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4.
So I'm going to say my daughter wins. I would say, oh God, 2, 3, and 4.
I really hope you're missing.
Yeah. I mean, I would then go with family. So essentially, my wife, my dad, my mum, like that family. Then I'd say friends. Like it's the friends that I see, the real friends, the people who ask if you're all right when you're not, the people who know you, or know what's going on.
Your neighbour that puts the bins out.
Yeah, because actually he'll know, you know,
Yeah.
if you're struggling.
Yeah.
Actually, the friend that calls you once a year to ask for some money or something.
Yeah.
Doesn't really know or care.
No.
So yeah, kids, family, and wife. And then I'd go, is it sad to say the business?
No, not at all. I was fully expecting that.
I think the business would then be, so is that 4?
Almost it sort of gives you another meaning, doesn't it? Yeah.
Business is me. And I built it to be an extension of me being a founder as well. You have that connection that nobody else can have. Like, and if somebody says something about the business, that's me.
Yeah.
But I would put that number 4.
Good.
What would you put?
Oh, probably my motorbike, number 1. Yeah. But definitely my children. My missus is definitely next. She's just more than a partner, you know. She's she's my biggest fan. She really does keep me going. And I'd say 3 is my grass in my back garden. I'm so sad. I actually miss my grass when I go on holiday.
It's funny you say that. I actually went down to a family party, and I said to this boy, I was like, "Grass is really good." And he said about green fun, and he uses green fun and stuff. I was like, "It looks incredible." And then he was like, "Oh, let me show you a picture of it last month." And then I pulled out a picture of my grass a week ago, and my wife's like, "I'm like, you literally hit that midlife. You're so old talking about
Right.
grass."
But I'm on a holiday and I check my ring camera to look at the grass. I'm like, oh God, look at the grass. It's nice and long. It's not, look how green it is. And I'm like in Egypt looking at my grass with my ring camera. Yeah, I'm proud of it. It's weird. I think it's symbolic though. When I say I love my grass, I actually love the time of life I'm in. I think that's what it really is. I am sad. And my missus will say he's not lying when in fact, his grass is number one, she would say. But I think it's more, I'm loving the time of life I'm in where, back in the day, it was a bit hectic, chaotic and that. And actually I get pleasure out of just my grass,
Grass, yeah.
but definitely grass is up there. But yeah. And then it's obviously the friends, even though they're getting smaller and tighter, they are wholesome. They are friends that don't take, they give. I'm not saying give materialistically. I'm saying let's give, yeah. So kids, missus, grass, friends, and family, obviously. My mom's going to be gutted that she's like under my grass, not literally under my grass. Yeah, another issue. Yeah, that's Diary of a Psycho Killer, Mother Killer.
Okay, brilliant. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you thought of?
No, I think like I said, we could talk all day about and go off on tangents. Like I said, Winterland and everything else, but I think it's been well covered, mate.
Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. I've enjoyed it. It's been like a therapy session for me, so I'll pop in anytime.